The Serpent King had been slain. However, the peace that followed was to be short-lived. Following the defeat of Orochi, the land was largely free of the chaos he had brought with him. However, a number of smaller skirmishes continued to break out across the land. Lu Bu, Masamune Date, and Cao Cao all mobilized their armies in an attempt to seize power, and the land began to suffer from the daily confrontations between man and Orochi's followers. On top of all this, Dong Zhuo, determined to rule the world in tyranny with Orochi gone, suddenly made a play for power. Unable to sit by and watch any longer, Sakon Shima strengthened his resolve and vowed to prevent the land from slipping back into chaos. His first move was to face Dong Zhuo's army and rescue Zhang Jiao. Faced with the resolve that Sakon and his men displayed in wanting to save the land, Dong Zhuo and his army were left with no choice but to retreat. However, this victory alone was not enough to quell the chaos. Sensing this, Sakon went to visit Shingen Takeda in an effort to bolster his ranks. Sakon hurriedly led his forces towards their destination. Usually not one to rush things, Sakon could not help but think about that mysterious man. The man who had joined Sakon in the last battle and then left just as suddenly. His kind and watchful eye seemed to be driving Sakon towards something. On the way to meet Shingen, he came across Xu Huang and Musashi Miyamoto under attack from a group of mysterious soldiers while training for their next battle. The two warriors immediately went to meet the oncoming enemy. There, they would be reunited with a most unexpected visitor. The return of Orochi was near. This news, so casually thrown about by Orochi's strategist Daji, fell like a thunderous boom on the ears of Xu Huang and Musashi. Following the battle, the two men brought along their newfound ally Kojiro Sasaki and hurried back to tell Sakon of what they had learned. After hearing their report, Sakon increased the pace of his march. The mysterious man's silent appeal remained with him. Perhaps he wished him to prevent the revival of the Serpent King. Having arrived at the camp of the Takeda army, Sakon met with its leader, Shingen Takeda. Sensing Sakon's passion, Shingen agreed to help him in his cause. The first move in the effort to capture Daji had been made. The consummate strategist, Sakon immediately began thinking of his next move. Sakon defeated the enigmatic Sun Wukong and rescued Kanetsugu Naoe of the Uesugi clan, who then introduced Sakon to Kenshin Uesugi himself. Following their meeting, Kenshin agreed to give Sakon his aid. So far, everything was proceeding according to Sakon's plan. However, there were things that even his brilliance could not predict. One was the motivation of their new ally, the mystic Fu Shi, the man who had tested Sakon in an effort to measure his worthiness. And the other was Kiyomori Taira. He was a most dangerous figure who used his demonic hordes to attack anybody who stood in his way of reviving Orochi. As the forces of light and dark prepared to do battle, Sakon began to make his next move. The dragon could only exist by the side of the serpent. It was clear that the paths of Sakon, who hoped to prevent the resurrection of Orochi, and Masamune would inevitably diverge. Now, news reached Sakon that Lu Bu and Kiyomori had joined forces to attack Liang province, which was being defended by the warriors of Wu. Lu Bu, Dong Zhuo, Daji, Masamune, Kiyomori. The forces who were conspiring to resurrect Orochi had formed a massive alliance. Sakon joined Sima Yi, whom he had met in the previous battle, and enlisted the help of two veteran warriors to save Wu. He entrusted the fate of his plan to his newfound allies. Indebted to Sakon, Wu quickly agreed to an alliance. Without so much as a moment's rest, Sakon moved to the next phase of his plan. Sakon knew that eventually he would require the cooperation of Nobunaga Oda. Determined to convince Nobunaga to join his cause, Sakon set off together with Guan Ping. Detecting a hint of anxiousness in Sakon's actions, Fu Shi tried to convince him to proceed with caution. However, despite the anxiety that Fu Shi sensed, he also noticed a distinct air of confidence about Sakon as well. Sakon and his men defeated the armies of Kiyomori and Dongzhuo at Hulao Gate. Just as Sakon had anticipated, the arrival of the Nobunaga army was the deciding factor between victory and defeat. Oda, Takeda, Uesugi, Wu. The alliance to prevent the resurrection of Orochi was finally complete. In response, Kiyomori quietly concentrated his forces at Bai Di Castle. Believing that Kiyomori was now attempting to revive Orochi, Sakon immediately ordered Nobunaga and Kenshin to attack Bai Di Castle. Oda, Takeda, Uesugi, Wu. This mighty alliance was not formed only to prevent Orochi's resurrection. In the event that those efforts failed, the alliance would be able to provide a united resistance against the Serpent King and send him quickly back to the depths from which he came. With the experience of the last battle behind them, the men made preparations for the upcoming battle to realize Sakon's vision. Having watched events unfold, Fushi managed to smile as he realized that his assessment of Sakon had been correct all along. Orochi had been resurrected and was surrounded by his strategist Daji and the one-eyed dragon Masamune. The final battle lay ahead. Sakon mustered every last bit of strength he had for the upcoming battle, for to defeat Orochi would demand nothing less than his absolute best.